I was scheduled to take part in the debate on transitional state pension arrangements for women born in the 1950s, but circumstances have kept me in Inverclyde today, and so I decided to record it. The debate was secured by the member for Warrington North, Helen Jones, and I believe I will express common ground, not only with her, but with many other members, in explaining my deep concerns with the way in which the UK Government has implemented changes to the state pension. Those most affected by the changes, women born in the 1950s, have clearly been failed by a lack of communication from the UK Government. Hundreds of thousands of women now find themselves in a desperate situation, burdened with an unexpected change to their financial circumstances through no fault of their own. It's unfortunate that the UK Government continues to show not only a complete lack of empathy with those affected, but also an unwillingness to engage with practical recommendations that would help to alleviate the impact of these changes. In doing so, the Government has underestimated the significant levels of support that the Women Against State Pension Inequality (WASPI) campaign has mustered, in and outside of Parliament. The Minister need only look at the WASPI campaign's petition and its 130,000 signatures for evidence of that support. The UK Government may believe that no policy adjustment is required, but given the momentum behind this campaign, I believe that these women deserve more than a simple regurgitation of government policy. Like other members, I have received correspondence from constituents outlining the practical ramifications of the government's pension changes. One of my constituents told me how she was devastated to discover just 3 years before she was due to retire that she would in fact need to wait an additional 6 years for her state pension. My constituent eventually had to stop working due to ill health, but with her ESSA due for review, she feels constant anxiety at the prospect of searching for a job at the age of 61, just when she had expected to be enjoying her retirement. Another constituent explained to me how she felt very badly treated and that the UK Government does not care about her or older people. She worked continuously from 1971 until 2012, but feels that at the age of 60 her prospects of finding further work are unrealistic. My constituent should be experiencing some comfort and security in her retirement after 40 years of national insurance contributions. She is instead facing the prospect of financial uncertainty for the immediate future. Unfortunately, the experiences of my two constituents will resonate with thousands of other women across the country. In correlating the stories of these affected by the pension changes, the WASPI campaign has found a number of common themes. The campaign found that many older women found it difficult to find employers willing to take them on, and that they were forced to accept 0 hours, temporary or low-paid contracts that offered little financial security. Other women had no choice but to take on work inappropriate to their state of health, and those that were unable to find work felt humiliated by the process of applying for job seekers allowance. The overarching theme of the WASPI campaign's findings was that the UK Government's action had resulted in women losing independence over their own lives. It cannot be right that hundreds of thousands of women find themselves in this predicament through no fault of their own. My grievance is not that women have been asked to retire later, it is that the transitional process has been so badly managed by the authorities responsible. It was the duty of the UK Government to disseminate pension information in a timely and accurate fashion, and they have failed to do so since the changes were announced in 1995. Research commissioned in 2004 by the Department of Work and Pensions found that just 43% of women aged 45 to 54 were aware that their own pensions would be the worst affected by the rise in pension age. Yet the UK Government has compounded this failure by refusing further assistance to the women affected by the Government's mistake. It was made perfectly clear in the Government's response to the WASPI petition that there would be no revisiting of the pension age arrangements, let alone an acknowledgement of the problems that have been caused. I believe that if the UK government can find £167 billion to spend on nuclear weapons, £43 billion on the vanity project that is the HS2 train project, £5 billion on the rebuilding of the Palace of Westminster, then it can find money to implement fair transitional arrangements to support women born in the 1950s. There are options available to the government, and there is simply no excuse for inaction. A solution could also be developed based around a non-means tested income for the women most affected by the changes. At the very least, an independent pensions commission should be established to review the situation and to make recommendations that could be implemented alongside the current reforms. It's not too late, and the UK government, if they have the will, can still do something to mitigate the damaging aspects of their changes to the pension age. The women of the WASPI campaign are simply asking for a fair deal and for the UK government to work constructively with them. I believe that is a reasonable request, and I will continue to do everything possible to ensure that their voice is heard.